Hello and welcome to another episode of My Confession. As always, I'm your host, Jael Msumba, and today we are going to take it different because we have seen so many lives being lost just because of people going to Gulf to look for green pasture. And as always, as we journalists, we have that money to shout and shout until we get a solution to this. And by saying that, today I'm going to have a survivor of Gulf who is going to tell us her side of story and her success after coming from Gulf. For more stories, stay tuned. Hi, Fauzia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for creating time. And kindly introduce yourself and give us your story.
Yeah, my name is Fauzia Wanjiru. From Kenya. I stay here in Kenya. I'm a survivor of human trafficking in the Gulf, mostly in Saudi Arabia. That's when it all started by a friend who introduced me and told me, like, Fauzia, you're going to work as a receptionist in Qatar. So my mindset was like I was going to work in Qatar. And I ended up being in Saudi Arabia, where it wasn't my idea to go to Saudi Arabia.
Were you switched or what happened?
Yeah, at the airport, because I went to Qatar first. Then I was told it's like a transit for me. I never knew about transit. I never knew anything about traveling because it was my first time traveling. Then also the language barrier, because now you're speaking English, some of them speak Arabic, so it was a language barrier. So I ended up going to Saudi Arabia. Then reaching Saudi Arabia, I didn't know. My mind was I'm going to work as a reception. And I ended up going there as a domestic worker. And it was so confusing at the airport because it wasn't something that I was expecting. So
it was a friend who introduced you to that agent, or?
No, it wasn't an agent. Before, it wasn't an agent. She told me, like, my cousin is working in Qatar as a receptionist in a salon. So this is an opportunity for you. Then for me, I felt, now I really need to grab this opportunity because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So, and I thought of, like, making a lot of money, going out of the country.
Sure.
So that was what was in my mind. So after I talked to her, that's when she introduced me to an agent, because documents were sent and the agent had to translate the papers, to do some stuff with the embassy, because I never did anything. I was just told, like, your visa is here, so you, like, have 3 or 4 days to tell your people you're leaving, and that's how fast it was. And I found myself in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, at airport, I was taken somewhere, the basement in the airport. When you arrive, they took your passport. Like, they took my passport once I arrived at Saudi. And they told us, like, you have to go down and wait for your boss to come and pick you at the basement, at the airport basement. So,
And that is where most of the workers were always packed.
Yeah, because when I went there, we found some beds and other ladies there. Some stayed there a month, a week. So it depends on when your boss comes to pick you.
So it is like the official space of packing house camp.
Yeah, at the airport basement. So I waited for 3 days. Then I was picked. And now that's where everything started confusing, because now I was picked and told, like, you're going to work to our house. And now they're forcing me to understand Arabic, and I'm new. The only language I know is my mother tongue, English and Kiswahili. Then they're forcing me to speak Arabic. So they start telling me, when you go to the house, you have to understand how we call water, how we call fork, how we call spoon, because you're going to work to our parents' house and they are too old. So they don't need to shout or say anything, so you need to understand this thing. So they explained to me before I reached that place. Once I reached that place, I was still confused and still in shock, because that wasn't my expectation, and now I'm there. Then they said, now you're here, you're supposed to stay here for 3 months. Then I said, this is not what I signed for. Then they said, we have bought you.
And by the time you were being translated, what were you told about that documents?
Nothing. I wasn't told anything about the document because first my mindset and everything was set. I was going to work as a reception. End up being a domestic worker. This is another thing. So I wasn't set like I'm going to work as a domestic. So everything changed. All of a sudden, I was so confused because I'm trying to explain what I was being told. Now they're telling me they have already bought me. Now it starts confusing me. So I even start telling them I really need to go back home. They say that you cannot go back home because we used our money to buy you, to bring you here. So, and it's a lot of cash. It's not like 1 shilling or 2 shillings. So it was a lot of cash. So you have to work for us. And now I was trying to pick up myself and trying now to understand where I am. And it was still confusing because it wasn't the idea for me. Now, staying in that house, working, and now they need to show you like now you have to adapt. This is the life you have come to do. So I started working, hoping that they'll have that consideration of taking me back home. But they never had that even in their mind, coming through their mind. So it was me to start working at their house. So I started working slowly at that house. Then for a few months, I was introduced to other houses. Yeah, their sister-in-law houses, their brother-in-law houses.
And at that point, how much were they paying you?
800. They said it was 800 reals per month.
Which is equivalent to?
It was equivalent to 16,000 Kenya shillings at that time. Then they said to me like, so every month I was, for the first month, the second month, the third month, because it was on probation. So it's like you stay for probation. If you want, they take you back. So I was requesting them to take me back before the probation ends. But for them, because they felt they bought me, they never thought, like I really need that to come back. So I even had to lie like someone else in my family has passed on so that they'll feel. Now they started asking, will you go back and resurrect this person? No. So you just work because you need this money. Then looking back and say, okay, I really need this money because I left my daughter at home. I need to support my family back. So I started to adopt the situation. Now that's when the things start changing because I felt now this is the home that I'm supposed to work. Then all of a sudden it changed. Now I'm being like, 2 days I'm here, the other 2 days I'm in another house, the other 2 days I'm in another house. Now I'm feeling like being rotated within the houses.
The same amounts of money.
Yes. That didn't hurt me because now I just looked back. Yeah, I adjusted to that. The part that came to hurt it was when they never used to give me food. And they'll tell you like, we have to eat so that you can eat the leftovers. Then being born in my country and where I've never had such people to eat and then to share, to give you leftovers, that wasn't in me. So I used to stay hungry because I felt like they're treating me like a dog, like something, not as a human being, but a different thing to them. So it never went well with me because I even told them like, you don't need to give me a lot of food, just a small amount of food, but it's fresh, I can eat. Not that. Now it came a point where the son-in-law, because they were like neighbors, now he'll come and abuse me each and every time. So every now and then, now it's like you're traumatized and now you don't have anyone to talk to. You don't have anyone to tell.
What was
You're
he
all
doing
alone
exactly?
because even their phone, they took my phone, so that I cannot even communicate with my family. So I stayed there for 9 months, being mistreated like that. One day,
what was he doing exactly, the son-in-law?
He will come and abuse me, and he will take me outside. I think the sun is too hot in Saudi Arabia. It's not the same as here in Kenya. So he'll find such excuses to make me stand at the sun during the day outside until I nosebleed or pour some chemical, some acid in the washroom. Then he closes the door while I'm inside.
He locks you in.
Yeah. So when you get out of there, you feel like, this is not me. This is not what I really deserve. But you don't have any option. So I stayed being mistreated. Then it came to the son's boss. who was like walking naked, you know, during the day, they're sleeping. At night, they're awake. So I used to work 18 hours. You'll wake up at 10, you'll sleep the next day in the morning. So you'll just sleep like 4 hours, you are awake.
Up again.
Yeah, you're up again to the same routine. So if you don't have anything, they'll just take you from this house and take you to another house so that you can work and work and work. So one day they left, they brought their grandmother. So I was doing the house chores and looking after their old grandmother. So I used to cry and cry and cry a lot. Until one day they left, and they used to lock me in. So I never used to go out, even unless when I'm being punished. That's when I'll see outside. Unless I'm not being punished, I'm inside the house, so you cannot go out.
So you couldn't even tell where you are?
Yes.
You can't even trace how you can get back to your agents?
But that time, now I used to feel like, now I'm tired. So one day, it was an occasional Eid. Then they said, because it was almost 9 months, now my parents don't know where I am because I've never communicated. They feel like I'm already dead because no one is communicating, and my mom is trying to look for the agency. He's trying to call everyone to help, to look for me, and no one can be able to look. So they said, can you call your people today and just say hi? Because now I was asking them, what about my salary? No, your salary we're going to give you after 2 years. Once you finish with your contract, we'll give you all your salary. Then you can go home and do something big. But now I was telling them, I have a daughter in school. How is my daughter being able? How will my parents pay school fees? How will these things happen? But for them, they said, no, we are going to pay you once you end your contract. So one day I was very tired, very, very, very much tired. They left. It was also on that holiday when they left, and they left one door open. The door was being left open, so I went out, came in, went out, came in. I never believed like the door was left open. So for me, I tried to think like, is it reality? Because now it have never happened to me to go outside and come in. So I felt, and I went and told the old lady that I was taking care of. I said, like, you have to forgive me, but I have to go. I don't know where I'm going, but I have to go. So I left the house. I'm going now. Everything outside looks the same. You cannot differentiate the houses because they look the same. So I decided I'm going to go, and I don't know where I'm going. So I went to the highway. You know, like that. It was a big highway, but for us, like Kenyans, we know how to cross the road. So I was like, I'm this side, I'm seeing cars the other side. Why don't I cross the other side? I cross the other side, I don't see anything. So I end up meeting police officers, and they asked me what I'm doing outside because it's not normal I didn't even know, like, it's not normal for women to walk around alone. So they asked me where I came from. I say, hey, I cannot even say now where the house is because everything looks the same. And they took me in their custody. Then they tapped my name in their computer, and then it shows who my boss was. And they called him. And when he came, he said, he's going to accuse me of stealing. Then I can stay there for 2 years, for 3 years, until I accept to go back to work. And I said, I will not go back to work. I need to go back to my country. Then they took me at the deportation center, where now I'm staying there because now they have that negotiation within the boss and me and the police. So now I didn't know anyone else until this part they called embassy people, because now I was so mad. Even I cannot, because why are you accusing me? Because I've just said I don't need a job. You haven't paid me. You haven't. Now they start saying, okay, come back. We are going to pay you your salary. We are going to pay you. We are going
So
to
all that time you were working, they didn't pay you anything?
They never paid me. They never paid me. And I wish one day, I know one day we'll meet, because that was my sweat.
So you were just doing for free?
Yeah. So I was kept there for like 2 months, trying to negotiate for me to go back. I said no. So now the police, they were speaking much Arabic until one of them was speaking English, came and tried to ask me, what's wrong? Why have you stayed here? Because most of people don't stay here that much. Their boss pay their flight, they go back to their country. Then I told him what he said, why I'm there. So at that time when I'm there, he sent my passport back to Kenya.
Your boss?
Yeah. So he said, like, he doesn't, now he came to a point where I said, I'm not going back. He said he doesn't even know me. Now I don't have anyone now who can assist me. So that policeman ended up calling embassy. Then embassy came, say, like, it's a process, you have to have patience for us to work for your papers and everything. Then they left, they come back maybe after 3 weeks again to ask, to make a follow-up. Then that's how I was being deported back to my country without my family knowing that I'm coming. It was a surprise to everyone, because even when I went, no one knew it was me at home. So it was so emotional. And coming back, people...
So, Fauzia, before we proceed, what was the worst thing that angered you and got you feel like it's high time I just go back to home if I'm actually working and I'm not being paid?
You're not being paid. You're being mistreated by everyone, because for them, they feel you are a slave to them because you're being bought. You're not just an housemaid, you're a slave because they bought you. Yeah? And it was so much pain, because you'll find even a 4-year-old kid shouting at you, hitting you with anything, and you can do nothing. And now everyone in that house, no one feels like you're a human being. They all mistreating you in a way. You feel like now you're so traumatized, you don't have anyone to talk to. Now you get to the issues of mental health, where you have no one to speak to, things are happening in you, and you can say nothing. So you end up even having those suicidal thoughts, like, should I kill myself? What should I do this house so that I can just leave this house, because this is not my normal life. This is not what I ever wanted to be. When I heard of like going for greener pastures, this is not what I dreamt of coming to do here.
So now you are back home. You are painless, you're traumatized, like everything is just like has crashed on you.
Yeah.
How was the journey? How did you pick up your broken pieces and then stand up?
Wow. I think I'll speak on most of the survivors that are coming in, not only myself, but with the pain. Okay, for me now, I never got paid. Others got paid, and sending them money back home, they come home and find their parents have already used their money. So it's not the different situation like mine, yeah? Because now you're being paid and you come back, you have nothing, yeah? Your family has used already all your money. Then coming home, you're coming home so traumatized. These people here are expecting something big from you, which you don't have at all.
Sure.
You don't have at all. So because they want something from you and you're not giving it to them, they start isolating you. So you start remaining like you're alone with your own problems. Now you find your kids, maybe they never went to school. You're just there trying to ask yourself, where am I going to start? For my story, for mine, it was so traumatizing, because I never used even to go out. I used to isolate myself in the house and stay in. Even I was like, you're not going out. Why am I going out? To do what? Because once I go, if someone sees you, yeah, you're back. What did you bring us? What did you do? You know, everyone is expecting something from you. And now, you cannot be able to share your story with everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Now it's killing you inside with whatever you have gone through. Now, instead of finding a welcoming family, you find now that family expects something from you. You don't have, everyone disperses. So you remain alone in yourself. then at the moment that time you need counseling, maybe you don't have any connection of getting counseling. So you still thinking, what should I do? Should I start? Should I go back? Where will I start my life? So it's becoming so affecting, so that even your self-esteem goes down. You cannot be able to be the same person you can stand unless you get someone who supports you, or someone who will be able to encourage you or give you advice on how to do or how to go about it. Yeah.
So, Fauzia, as we wrap up, because I understand you started an organization that supports young ladies who are coming from Gulf.
Yeah.
What exactly do you guys do?
We work with survivors. We really give them psycho support. And also we try to see how we can be able to empower them. Yeah. With small skills that first as ourselves we have, because you cannot share what you don't have.
Definitely.
So we share what we have. I might have a skill of making mats, so that's what I share. Someone else has a skill of doing makeup. That's what we share with us, because we have group discussions. Of which, after coming back, a friend of mine came and told me, like, now you need to go. And I got social support from an organization. And that's where I felt like I really need to do something. I really need to make a change. Even if not for 10 people, 20 people, even if it's one person, I can change his or her mind. That's the best thing I can do. And I thank God, alhamdulillah, because I've been able to save ladies who wanted to go. And I tell them, don't hear what you're being told. Let them tell you the truth. This is what you're going to expect.
Yeah,
Can
sure.
you do this? If you cannot do this, then don't go.
Yeah,
Stay
sure.
back in your country. Try to think on small business. Not everyone is making in this life, but with steps, with baby steps, you can be wherever you want to be. And that's how I started with a bureau, first in my community in Kamkunji, with young girls from these bureaus, domestic workers in Isili, and with an organization that was doing labor movement. So we had to create time to teach them about labor rights, on their rights, first to understand their rights before even they sign their contract. They really needed to know what is in that contract, not just to be told, like, this is your contract.
Yeah, sure.
And you don't understand what that contract says. You just request, even if it's being translated, can you have a copy? So that even if you're going to travel, because we cannot say that you should not travel.
Yeah.
It's your choice. But you need to understand what is in that contract. Have a copy left with your family, because most of the agencies that work, they don't give you that opportunity for you to share.
To access the documents.
Even to access the documents, even your passport, they create you a passport, your family doesn't even know your passport number. So even if they want to track you back, they cannot be able.
Yeah, sure.
Because they don't know. The contract, if they can be able to share that contract with you, and you can leave a copy with your family and you agree with it, it's also good. So that's what we have been training them. Then I end up being taken by one of a big organization, that's Footprint to Freedom. It works within East Africa. It's in Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda. That's where I'm working, and I'm happy to be there to help other survivors' voice to be heard.
Yeah, sure.
Because I really need us survivors to be heard by the whole world. Because the people who are talking about survivors, they're not survivors. They're just going with the stories that we share.
Yeah, true.
They are not the people that go through whatever we go through. Yeah, like when our CEO for Footprint came to Kenya at the airport, I saw girls who were being trafficked, and I stopped them. I started asking them, do you know even what you have signed for? But I told them, in case you have a problem, just look for me on Facebook. Just look for our organization at Facebook. Just write a message to us. I'll try and reach and help. And I've managed to help 2 girls from Saudi to come back to Kenya. And that's a success to me.
True.
Yeah, for me, it's a success because the family were so much desperate. They have gone to the migration. They have gone to the agency. Then you end up going to the agency. The person you're talking to the agency knows the person at the migration. So you go to the migration, the person in the migration chases you away.
Yeah,
tells you, like, we cannot help, because it's like they have a connection. They're working together. So you end up you cannot be helped. Then coming from a vulnerable family, vulnerable community in our country, it makes you helpless. You cannot be able to help yourself. Yeah.
So as we conclude, Fauzia, what can you advise those parents that have been affected, and also those ladies probably they've been affected, and then one word probably to agents? Yeah.
To ladies, no matter what have happened to you, every scar has a story, and every scar heals. Yeah. So it's a scar. It's something that happened to you. You'll still pick up your pieces, and you can still be the best person you want to be. Yeah. To
And
the agency, please, please, let our girls, let our women know what they're going to do. Just be honest, not because you're having a lot of cash or you're being paid for your services makes you sell our girls. Kindly, kindly, kindly. Just make them understand what they're supposed to go to do, and be honest with them.
Sure.
Let someone make decision out of understanding this is what I've been told I'm going to do.
True.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Fauzia. I much appreciate for your time, and I'm so humbled for creating, because it was so quick and you on to it. So nimeshukuru sana.
Hata mimi nimesema asante kwa kunikaribisha. Yeah, and I'm looking forward.
Oh yeah, you're always welcome.
Yeah.
To my good viewers, I believe this is a story that will inspire so many ladies, especially those ones that are in need of jobs and feel like traveling to Gulf. Before you decide to take off, always understand what you've been told to sign. And for those agents that are trafficking our ladies, it's high time we learn to keep our culture safe. Till next time, I'm your host, Jael Msumba.